It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 29th day of October 2021. I'm Chillie Falls, coming to you from Forest and Bedford County, Central Virginia area, right outside of Lynchburg. Today, folks, is National Cat Day. Now, I don't want everybody to get all confused, which I tell you have a tendency to get confused out there. Today is National Cat Day, and in honor of that, I'm wearing my Hudson the Cat t-shirt, but I don't want y'all to get confused with the thing that says Emma Cruises, because I have a guest today that's name is Emma, but it's not the same Emma that's Emma Cruises and Hudson the Cat. So now we got all that out of the way. Cruise ships sailing today from the U.S. We've got a few of them. Out in New York, Manhattan, Crystal Symphony's leaving on a 7-nighter. Port Canaveral, Disney Dream on a 3-nighter. Mariner of the Seas on a 4-nighter. Down in Fort Lauderdale, the Equinox, Celebrity Equinox, leaving on a 9-nighter. Miami, the Scarlet Lady. Come on, tongue. The Scarlet Lady, Virgin Voyages, is leaving on a 5-nighter from Galveston. Adventure of the Seas on a 5-nighter. Then on the West Coast, Long Beach, Los Angeles, Long Beach is the Carnival Miracle on a 3-nighter, and the Seattle, from Seattle, the American Constellation on a 7-nighter. What we're going to cover later on today in the news: Carnival Radiance arrives in Miami, net zero emissions by 2050. That's from Royal Caribbean. MSC changes the Homeport. Ocean Explorer christened. Jamaica cruise ports to reopen by the end of the year. Some remaining countries are removed from England's red list. Aida Prima sails tomorrow, and a whole bunch more live. I will flash up our port of the day before we get started here this morning, and so you guys can look at that and think about that real quick. And if you have a guess on the port of the day, this is a little more difficult, although it's not as hard as some have been. Just put that in the comments. So, all right. My guest today, and of course I was teasing early, is Emma Watts. She's the owner photographer at Emma Watts Photography. Best known in our community as administrator of the Cruise Addicts community. She lives on the Isle of Wight. Come on, tongue. My tongue's just confusing this morning. All right. With no further ado, my special guest on Chillie Chats, Emma Watts. Emma, welcome to Chillie Chats.
Hi, Chillie. I know the Isle of Wight. It's a mouthful.
Yeah, that happens with me. I'm usually one to screw something up all the time, and this was not anyway. Okay.
Hiya.
Most of my audience are seasoned cruisers. Not many people have been cruising as long as I have, since my first one was almost pushing 50 years ago. It was 1978. But really seasoned cruises. You are a seasoned cruiser also, obviously, but there's something extremely special about you that the rest of us have never had, and I'm dying to ask you about your son and his position.
That was him as a cadet. He's now 3rd officer on MSC Seaside.
Okay. How did that get started?
How did that get started? Well, when he was 5, he actually wanted to be a sleeping policeman. And in England, a sleeping policeman is a speed hump in the road that slows the cars down. That was his dream job. I don't know why, but thankfully he got over that one. And we took him, you can see in the picture there, we took him on Ocean Village. My husband won a cruise doing some silly challenges, and we won this cruise on Ocean Village for 2 weeks. And he was just completely overwhelmed by the running of the ship, how it handled the captain, everything. And from about the age of 5, thought he could be a captain. And then when he got to about 12, he realised he couldn't go straight in at captain. He'd have to start a bit lower down, which he did. And so he kind of took his interest into the sea. We live on an island, so we are, very popular for sailing. We have Cows Week, big sailing regattas. And so he took himself off and learnt to sail, and he did the Sea Scouts. And at 15, we were over at nautical colleges getting all the pamphlets and leaflets on how to become a cadet and work his way up. And so he then put his studies, he knew what studies he had to do, and worked his socks off to get his grades, and was very lucky because there were a lot of applicants. And MSC offered him a cadet ship, which was a sponsored course for 3 years, based in UK at Glasgow Riverside Maritime College, Nautical College, and then a year sea time. So he was very lucky to get the job, or to get the cadetship.
That's just fabulous. And he is now sailing.
He's now sailing. He's been on board for 2 weeks. He qualified last year, but with the lockdown, he had to wait. But in the time he was qualifying, he was on Divina Fantasia and Orchestra, and he did a super itinerary, which took him from the North Cape down to South Africa. Wow. So he had a super ship, super places to see. So he was very lucky, and it really kind of made him, this is what I want to do. So he qualified last September and sat patiently and waited for COVID to, let the ships at least get back sailing again. And they offered him his third officer position. So he's in the Mediterranean. He's in Civitavecchia, Rome today, and he's on watch 8 till 12. So he has a good watch, and he's got his own cabin. So it's all brilliant in his world at the moment.
Awesome. And he is tickled pink, I assume.
And MSC are great. They're a great company to work for. You really are part of the family, and it's been really special.
Well, I'm hoping in my first little grouping of cruises in January, if I can get everything approved with oxygen, but I'm hoping to do 1 and possibly 2 MSC cruises, because that was one of the many that I had canceled, and I have not yet been on an MSC ship. So that's way at the top of my list. They
are stunning ships. We had one cancelled to Canada and New England, and that sucks.
You have been, I can't say lucky enough, but you're in the right position that you've been able to take advantage of some staycations over there in the UK, which were brilliant for the cruise industry. And I'm so tickled pink that so many of you have done that. But you've been on 4 cruises in the last couple months?
Yeah, I mean, some of our colleagues in the media side of cruising over here have done a lot more than I have, but I'm very lucky to have done 4, one of which was the maiden sailing, the first ship to sail out of Southampton in May on MSC Virtuosa, and that was very emotional. I was met where we live on an island. I have to get a ferry just to Southampton, so it's not far, we are close. And I was met off the ferry by a TV crew for our local BBC South, who wanted to interview me, which was quite funny. And then I just wanted to get on the ship, stop delaying me, let me on the ship. So then literally set foot on the ship, and the managing director, the UK managing director, Antonio Paradiso, was there again with a TV crew in his face in the main area. And it was just, I saw him, he saw me, we just kind of waved at each other, and very emotional. Yeah, it's the first glass of champagne was the sweetest. It was lovely.
Right. And then just recently, you and the Hubster had a little bit of an anniversary cruise.
Yeah, 24 years. So we were lucky to have Royal Caribbean Anthem of the Seas,
Yeah.
And we booked it. And then my brother said, "Oh, can we come? Because it's his sister, or my sister-in-law, his wife's birthday the day before our anniversary. So could they come too?" Okay, yeah, that'd be lovely. And then my sister said, "Oh, can we come? Because we actually got married on her birthday." So we all went and we all celebrated.
Nice.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And you visited here recently with the Beatles, of course, over here on this side of the pond.
Yeah,
that's something that we don't get to do.
That was very special, because now the UK, you can go off the ship independently. You don't have to be on a bubble tour.
Yeah.
So even though we actually did the tours with the ship, you could go independently. And to see the 4 Beatles, they will have a hidden message, which you have to find the hidden message. They all have something on them that is unique to them, their history, and you have to find the little hidden message, whether it's in their hand or somewhere else. There's little hidden things on those statues. I won't give it away. You have to find them.
Yeah. That's the first time I've heard that one. I've talked to several people that have been there. That's
cool. No, you have to kind of examine them, and there's a hidden meaning to each of them, but I won't give it away.
Okay, I know. I don't blame you for that. All right, this is probably, I'm looking back over your Facebook postings. This is one of my favorite pictures.
That was pretty special. That's called North Star.
Yeah.
And if you're in the UK, that is 300 feet above sea level, which is the same height as Big Ben. So if you've been to Big Ben and you've looked up, that's how high you are. That's a fab thing to do. Yeah, it's high. You can go on it on a port day. They do taster rides. You literally just go up and down. Yeah. But on a sea day, you can pay to go on it, and it goes out over the side.
Over the
That's
water.
the view I wanted.
Yeah. And of course, when you do that, there's always some adult beverages involved, I'm sure.
My reputation precedes me.
As does mine. What can I say? Yeah.
I must admit, you had Gavin and Luke on last week, and they got me onto a cocktail called the Miami Vice.
Yeah. What a pair they are. And I enjoy giving them hell. Of course, I have fun with everybody that comes on this show, but I especially enjoyed giving them hell over Luke getting so toasted after that first day on whatever ship that was on he was doing. Oh my goodness, that was great. All right, now here's another one that's that looks like the family.
Yeah, that's on Virtuosa. This long weekend fell on James's birthday, and he thought he'd like a busman's holiday to go on MSC Virtuosa to show his girlfriend Carla what the ships were like where he'd be working, so she could kind of get an idea, because she'd never seen a ship up close or even been on one. So we just thought it'd be quite a hoot if we all went on one for his birthday. And now she's just talking cruises to me.
Nice. Nice.
She fancies the Virgin, the Valiant lady. So I think, we might be sorting that one out.
Nice. Very good. And
that was his birthday. We were up in Yacht Club. Alcohol. What can I say?
Is that
There's a Miami Vice.
A strawberry pina colada?
Maybe? No, that's the Miami Vice.
Oh, that's the Miami Vice.
Yeah, so you've got half pina colada in the bottom and half strawberry daiquiri on the top.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Very nice.
Okay, I might have to try that one too.
Highly recommend it.
One other question from going back a little bit. The silent disco. This is another one I've not heard of. How does that work?
Well, that was great fun. That was on Oriana. Not Oriana. Sorry, I confused my ships. Britannia. Oriana. She's long gone. That was Britannia. We went for my husband's birthday treat, and there's about 40 or 50 of these headsets, and the DJ plays 2 different songs. So you just change channel on the ear. so you can either listen to one song or the other. It's more funny actually to take the headphones off and to listen to everybody singing. Because it's really
you don't hear any music like you normally would in a disco.
No, all
it's
you
all
hear
through
is
the headsets. And then you just get up there and you dance and sing. Oh my goodness, that could be hysterical.
It was very funny because you're either listening to the same song as someone next to you or it's completely different. And if you take your headphones off and you're singing, it just sounds awful.
Wow.
But
now, one thing I did notice about the Britannia, and of course that's one of your habits on that side of the pond that we stupid Americans never adopted, is afternoon tea. Oh, I gained 3 pounds just looking at these pictures.
That was fabulous. You would do like an afternoon tea in England, in Britain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
That was pretty cool. All right, a couple of serious questions, and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
You've been on 4 ships. Did they all have the right protocols for the situation that we find ourselves in today, as far as keeping people safe and still being able to cruise?
They all handle it quite differently. MSC allowed people to go on that were either single vax, double vax, or no vaccinations. You had a test at the port. P&O wanted you to be double vaxxed. There were no children, and again tested at the port. And Royal Caribbean were double vaxxed, and you had to have a full PCR, like a fit to fly test, before you went. You had to pay for that, and Royal Caribbean reimbursed you. The problem at the moment is our COVID rates are quite high, and it seems to be amongst the children more so than the other age groups. And that's kind of, if you're going to have kids on the ship, it's kind of difficult to stop COVID coming on. You can test negative the day you board or the day before you board, but it doesn't mean it's not going to happen whilst you're on a ship. And when we were on MSC, there were cases on board, more so with the crew, because unfortunately the crew are quite a target. And I know when we came off Anthem last week, the next cruise, they had to shut the kids club because a child had taken it on Anthem. But the protocol, once it's on board, they shut down the department. The crew are in isolation. They deal with it the best that they can, and it seems to control it. So I think that the fact that most people, well, you get on negative, then you're, you've at least got the foot in the right direction.
Right.
And if they are prepared, they are very well prepared. There are cabins set up, the systems are set up. If something does happen on board, if you feel unwell at any point, they want you to tell them. Don't sit and hide in the cabin. Don't test yourself. Call them immediately. They are completely prepared for you to call if you feel unwell at any time. Admittedly, I was happy just doing the short cruises this year. I felt that was quite a confident thing. We had to wear masks. I was great. I got all my sequins. I've got all my sequin masks for the evening. It wasn't an inconvenience having to wear the mask to walk from A to B. You sit and eat your meal. You can take it off when you're eating and drinking. If that just kind of, protects the other passengers, if you are the one that doesn't realise you have it, then so be it. I think they will probably stay with us for a little while. I still felt safer on a ship than I do in the supermarket, than I do in the local pubs. I'd rather be on a ship than at a holiday park in the UK, for example, because I just felt it was more controlled. I could turn up at any holiday camp untested and go in the pool, the changing rooms, the restaurants, the bar, the kids' clubs. Here, I just had that confidence that everyone was responsible to take the test to go on board.
Right. What bothers me the most about this, I'm clearly all in favor of all the protocols. I have no trouble wearing a mask when need be. I'm fully vaccinated. Plus, I had the booster the first couple of days it was out, but that's because of my health situation.
Yeah.
I would have no trouble getting on a cruise whatsoever. Up until just recently, my biggest bugaboo on whether I could actually go or not was that Florida, which most of the cruises that I go on are from Florida, was horrible. And there it's this political football. In too many places in this country, they've turned it into politics and has nothing to do with the health and the science. So that just aggravates the crap out of me. But I'm interested. I was very interested in your comment that you felt safer on a ship than you do in the grocery store. I think would be my similar feelings about it.
The crew are, they're geared up. In the buffet, nothing is self-service. You're not touching anything. You anti-back all the time. If you go in the lift, you anti-back before you press the buttons. When you go into the restaurants, you wash your hands. It's not just anti-back. There are sinks. You wash your hands. They want you to wash your hands with soap and water, which is far better than anti-back gel, in my opinion. It's still good, but you can properly wash your hands. They're cleaning constantly. Every time you sit down, the table is already cleaned, sprayed. You can sit down, it's clean. So the COVID isn't, I would say, on the ships. It's taken on by a passenger that's unaware, that maybe has tested negative. But if you at any time feel unwell, you just phone the medical centre. They have cabins ready for you. They will, accommodate you, and they will sort you out. So, yeah, it's something we have to learn to live with, I think. And cruising has to restart. These ships aren't made to sit idle. They have to be working. They're working vessels. And I think if you are cruising, like when we have just been, we didn't go out before the cruise. We stayed at home. We were, cautious as much as we could be. And obviously my husband goes out to work, but we could be as cautious as we could be. We weren't in restaurants or pubs or going where, putting ourselves at risk.
Right. What's ahead? Maybe I shouldn't ask this because I know you don't officially have anything booked yet. Can you share with us what you want to do in the future?
Well,
as far as cruising goes?
October is a good month for us because it's our anniversary. So next year it's 25 years, which in my book means something fabulous. We have to celebrate this. And I found one today, but he didn't say no, so that's great. But it's 25 nights to USA and Canada, New York and New England. And I really want to go to Prince Edward Island. There might be a few other Anne of Green Gables fans out there that understand what Prince Edward Island means to us. But we were booked to go there in 2020 and lockdown said no. So we cancelled that one. And now this one has come up and it's a very nice itinerary.
Oh, that would be fabulous. Okay, great ship too. And I tell you one thing that I've learned about the Sky Princess. I've probably interviewed people now on 30 ships. Sky Princess is 100 times better Wi-Fi than anybody else.
Perfect.
They've done it. They've got it right on Sky Princess. Not necessarily on all the Princess ships, oddly enough, because I've had a couple that weren't as good. But still, that'd be fabulous. I'm hoping to do the Sky Princess while she's over here too. So,
well, Gavin and Luke kind of sold it to me with the medallion as well. I thought, that sounds really quite fun.
Yeah, that's a pair. I just love them to death. Well, Emma, I can't thank you enough for doing this. I've wanted to do this for at least a month or 6 weeks now since I first contacted you. I'm glad we finally got together.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. We'll have to do it again sometime and give our best to your son and tell him we're thinking about him and on his career
He
in the
loves
cruise
custard
industry.
creams. If anybody out there is going from England, a pack of custard creams will make his day.
Okay. Emma, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, thanks for having me,
Thanks.
Chillie. Bye for now.
All right, that's Emma Watts. Oh, that was a good interview. That was fun. I do have a couple news stories we need to get to today, folks, before I totally run out of time. But I enjoyed that. That was great. Let's see where I am. Here we go. I'm slowly getting caught up now. All right, first we got to take a look at the weather in the Atlantic. Showers and thunderstorms associated with a strong low pressure system located a few hundred miles south-southwest of Cape Race, Newfoundland, continued to show some signs of organization. However, the low is still attached to a front and therefore eastward and then southeastward towards slightly warmer waters during the next few days. It could lose its associated fronts and acquire some subtropical characteristics over the weekend or early next week over the central Atlantic. They're saying 20% chance of further formation in the next 48 hours, 30% chance in the next 5 days. Do I see this as a potentially a lot of problems? If it strengthens enough into a true storm system, yeah. But we're just going to have to watch it and see. This time of year, we're lucky. We don't have any really bad things that are on the horizon here at the end of the season like we have had in years past. There's a system that crept up in the Pacific yesterday or during the night last night, actually. And it's, basically the same thing. It's an associated low, disorganized. It's a system that's about 850 miles south-southwest of the southern tip of Baja. I don't see this as being much chance. They're saying 20%, maybe, of development, but I just don't see it. All right, couple news stories. The Carnival Radiance is actually in Miami. Finally, after what seems like years since she went into dry dock to be transformed, but Carnival Cruise Line's newly transformed ship, the Carnival Radiance, officially arrived in the U.S. She departed the shipyard in Cadiz, Spain, and was embarked on a transatlantic crossing bound for the Bahamas. She arrived in Freeport on Wednesday. While in the Bahamas, the ship took on fuel and started the staffing process. Each returning crew member is tested and required to undergo a 2-week quarantine after joining the ship. After provisions and more crew, the vessel will head towards the west coast and her new home port of Long Beach, California. And you probably remember, if you've been around as long as I have, you may have sailed on the Carnival Victory. That's what the Carnival Radiance used to be. It was the Carnival Victory, and they're completely redoing it, and they're adding a couple important things for me, at least, is they're adding Shaq's Chicken, which I can't wait to try Shaq's Chicken from what I've heard about it. And, of course, Guy's Burger Joint has been added, and some other things. If any of you have been on the Carnival Sunshine, which was formerly the Carnival Destiny, or the Carnival Sunrise, which I have been on that one, which was formerly the Carnival Triumph, then you'll pretty much understand the differences in Radiance to what she used to be. So basically, the Radiance will offer 3- and 4-night Baja sailings starting December 13th. So now we're going to have 3 Carnival ships in LA: the Panorama, the Miracle, and the Radiance. So, all right. Our buddy Dave Monk was in the news. Not in the news, but he released something that I picked up on. And I thought, I'll just use Dave's story. According to our buddy Dave's Monk, Ship's Monk, of course, By the way, he currently is on board Harmony of the Seas down in Italy. It's actually a working holiday for him. He's on a ship and working at the same time. I'd like to be able to do that. I'd like to be on a ship and working too. Anyway, Royal Caribbean Group has announced a pledge to achieve net zero emissions by 2050, including a net zero cruise ship by 2035. That, according to Richard Fain, chairman and CEO, who said, "Our vision is to realize carbon-free cruising over the next 2 decades." Royal Caribbean Group became the latest cruise giant to detail its decarbonization goals, a comprehensive strategy that includes establishing science-based targets. So thank you, Dave, for that one. And good for Royal Caribbean as we get more and more people. You know, as much as I love to cruise, let's face it, folks, the cruise industry was not the healthiest thing to our environment over all these many years. So it's good to see that they are actively working and getting in the right direction now for saving our planet, as well as still providing us with our enjoyment, trips and vacations, the like. MSC Cruises has announced that the MSC Seaview will be based in St. Martin and Barbados for the winter of 2021 and 22. The authorities in Martinique and Guadeloupe have not yet opened up their countries to cruise ship port calls. Therefore, MSC amended its original itinerary to include Phillipsburg and St. Martin, of course, as an embarkation port along with Bridgetown, Barbados, so that it can still run its winter Caribbean campaign. The updated itinerary reflects the ports that have guaranteed access to the ship and its passengers from December onwards and allows for a full day at each destination. The Seaview will operate 2 different 7-night itineraries from its 2 embarkation ports. The first will depart from each home port, calling at St. Lucia, Grenada, and St. Kitts. All guests on MSC Seaview will need to be fully vaccinated or show proof of a negative PCR test taken 72 hours prior to embarkation. In most ports, passengers can go ashore independently. However, there are some others that guests can only go ashore if they take a protected shore excursion through MSC. So, folks, you got if you're going on any of these cruises, you got to check on that and make sure that you know ahead what you got to deal with. Also, be careful with MSC because there's 3 ships that sound enough alike to be easily confused: the Seashore, Seaside, and Seaview. So I'm just warning you, be careful on that. But anyway, that's MSC. So they're going to be in the Caribbean this winter with a different ship, the Seaview. This one is probably too rich for my blood, but it is worth mentioning. The Ocean Explorer was christened by Vantage Deluxe World Travel Celebrate the christening of its first ocean-going small ship in Boston earlier this week. Ocean Explorer will sail worldwide with 15 itineraries that include Europe, transatlantic crossings, Central and South America, and Antarctica. The 5-star intimate Ocean Explorer combines luxury travel with expedition cruising, accommodating up to 162 guests with 77 cabins and 15 solo cabins. Folks, if you've got a little bit of extra money, these people are going after solo business. That's one of the things I try to support as much as I can, because I think that's a segment of our industry that's growing due to a lot more people are willing to try solos now, And let's face it, folks, in the last 18 months, a lot of us that had partners have lost partners due to COVID. And if we still want to cruise, many of us are going the solo route. I started doing solos about 5 years ago now. I absolutely love them. So I realize a lot of people are changing, have been forced to change. And so I just see a lot more people traveling solo in the future. Onboard amenities on this Ocean Explorer include hot rock cooking restaurant. Interesting. A raised infinity pool, 2 hot tubs, curated lecture programs and cultural events, a fitness center, a sauna, an expedition team on expeditions, a medical doctor, complimentary Wi-Fi, and included beer and wine with lunch and dinner. That's awesome. So it's an interesting concept. I think it's going to be a little to the expensive side, but then you got to look at what you get. All right, Jamaica is vows to be open by the end of the year, all their ports. Was a relatively slow start in Jamaica earlier this year, but now they're full steam ahead with reopening its borders for the cruise industry and the much needed economic boost that will bring. The Port Authority of Jamaica is working through plans to have all cruise ports on the island operational by end of the year 2021. Currently, the only port operational in the country is Ocho Rios, which successfully served to provide data on operating other ports throughout the country. Not oddly, but Ocho Rios is the one port that is capable of handling the largest ships in the world. The other ports have to be a little smaller ships. But anyway, a lot of fun times on Jamaica over the years for me. Look forward to going back again real soon. Yes. All right. As for our folks over on the other side of the pond, the remaining 7 destinations on England's red list, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Haiti, Panama, Peru, and Venezuela, all will be removed on Monday. So passengers returning to England from these destinations will no longer be required to enter a hotel quarantine. However, the government confirmed the red list and quarantine hotel policy remains in place. A review will be carried out in 3 weeks. From Monday on, eligible travelers with appropriate proof of vaccination from over 30 countries and territories, including Argentina, Tanzania, and Cambodia, will also qualify under the fully vaccinated rules for travel to the UK. This brings the total number of countries and territories covered by inbound vaccination policy in the UK to 135. So England is going to be wide open, finally. Good for them. One last story, folks, is on the Aida Prima. Carnival's Aida Prima will kick off the winter program from Hamburg on Saturday, October 30th. That's tomorrow, when the Aida Prima is part of a 26-cruise winter season extending through April. The week-long voyages will call on popular ports such as Le Havre, Rouen, according to a press release, as well as Zeebrugge and Rotterdam, where the ship will interport and all guests to board. Guests can expect diverse vacation program on board, from culinary highlights to enthralling entertainment. That's on the Aida Prima. Another one that one of these days I'd like to do. So, all right, that wraps up the news stories for today, folks. Had quite a bit. Well, it's been a busy day. All right, let me go over here and see if anybody's fussing at me in the chat room, and see if anybody has gotten our our quiz for today. Tom Henry's with us. Hot air Tom, 23 days until he cruises. That's awesome. Excuse me. Elizabeth says, Buenos dias, Chilean gang, from a chilly Cozumel. Oh, a cold 83. Oh, that's awful. I am so sorry to hear that. You have to put on your fur-lined bikini bottoms today. That's terrible. Be ready, Tom Henry. We are going to stump you today with Guess the Port. Oh, that she must have said that before I did it. Hi, everyone. Just heading into the dentist, so we'll catch up and see replay. Good luck with the dentist, Carol. Sorry about that. Tom Henry says, oh, goody, NCL Breakaway has finally docked in Bermuda. I checked on that yesterday, Tom, and it was strictly weather related. I mean, the winds and rough seas were several days of it. So that one was, in fact, truthfully, weather related, not COVID related. And it has calmed down in Bermuda during the night last night. So. Nikki says, good morning, everyone. They got their Moderna boosters last night. Sore arm, but it's tolerable. Very good. Congratulations, Nikki, on your now back to fully vaccinated status. Kenneth's with us from up in Pennsylvania. Kenneth and Robin, how you guys doing today? Tom Henry's guess, Tortola. Incorrect. Elizabeth says, love you, Emma. Yeah, a ship is far safer than many other places. Great point. Emily's with us. Good morning, gang. Whoopi Goldberg always says, wash your hands at the end of the show every day. I agree. We wash our hands a lot more than we ever used to. A son to be proud of, Nikki says. Thanks for sharing. I agree. I thought that was so neat. Number one, her photography is fabulous. So, you guys want to see tremendous pictures. I just didn't have time to go through all of them. I just watching her Facebook page. Her photography's just phenomenal. But when I saw the whole thing with her son, and they went on a couple cruises to get him ready, I knew I wanted to talk to her about that. That's pretty cool. Elizabeth says, anybody got a guess for the port? I haven't seen but the one. So Emily says, hi, gang. Up to get moving and get breakfast and get ready for work. I'll talk to everybody later. Not sure about tomorrow because Fiona will be at the Jobs Groomers tomorrow. Okay. Sunday, my cousin and her young boys will be coming over for Halloween. By the way, I don't have a guest Sunday. It was supposed to be Shane from Virgin Voyages, who, when he realized it was Halloween, has to be put off for another week. So we will catch up with John and see where John is. Will be someplace in Germany on Sunday on the Cruise Amigos. So that's going to be interesting. Tom Henry says he was watching Bermuda camera at 8 a.m. At one point. An ambulance pulled up to the ship, but the camera panned away before the patient came out. That one's interesting. But I'm, very possibly, there were some cases on board, and there was a number of people that were quarantined because of the contact tracing. Man, what's wrong with my tongue today? But anyway, yeah, that's but still, that was the not going into port was with the weather, because it was rugged there for a while. All right, so there are no guesses, so I'm going to flash this one more time before I call this a day, and we will carry this over till tomorrow. I tell you what, the mountains and the evergreen tree are clearly a hint on this one, but That's a little more on the difficult side of things. So that's going to wrap me up for today. We will do that port again tomorrow. So put your thinking caps on, folks. And if you're new to this channel, we have had another nice little run of new subscribers. Welcome aboard. I realized by having Emma on today, we might have some folks in her community, the cruise addict community. If you're here, welcome aboard. You might consider subscribing to this channel. I do travel and cruise industry news 6 days a week at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which for you guys on the other side of the pond is 4 p.m. British summertime. I realize you guys are getting ready to change clocks. We're getting ready to change clocks. So there's going to be a couple days in there maybe that we're different, but as that's normally the way it works. So anyway, but as you can see, everybody carries on conversations in the chat room at all times. So feel free to join in and join the crowd anytime you want. So that's going to wrap me up for today. This is the old fat travel guy. I'll see you tomorrow for Saturday travel and cruise industry news. As always, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, wash your hands, wear your mask if you need to, get vaccinated if you haven't been, and get your booster shots as soon as you can get them. And this is the old fat travel guy. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you'd like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.